Here's what's coming today on the Woodworking Network podcast.
In our market here in Minneapolis, if we follow 11 segments of employment, of which manufacturing is one of them, in the particular kind of county area that I'm in, there's nearly 180,000 jobs that are in 11 segments of employment. And then of those jobs, 20% of those jobs are in manufacturing.
Welcome to this episode of the Woodworking Network podcast. Join us as we explore the business of woodworking, big and small, and what it takes to succeed. I'm Will Sampson. Today's episode is sponsored by FDMC Magazine. Today my guest is John LeTourneau, chairman of the National Woods Board, an effort to promote skills training for the woodworking industry. But first, I want to talk about the myth of manufacturing's demise. We've all heard it over and over again. Manufacturing is going away. There are no manufacturing jobs anymore. The U.S. is no longer a leader in manufacturing. Everything is made overseas now. But it's all wrong. First of all, we have to agree on what we are measuring and how. Yes, there are fewer manufacturing jobs. 4.7 million fewer manufacturing jobs since 2000, according to one government report. And yes, manufacturing's share of the U.S. gross domestic product is down to 10 or 11% compared to as much as 25% in the 1950s. But manufacturing output in the U.S. is actually on the rise, and only China produces more manufactured goods by value than the U.S. China produces some $2 trillion in manufactured goods annually, accounting for 20% of all manufactured goods by value. Ranked number 2 in the world, the U.S. produces about $1.8 trillion in manufactured goods annually, accounting for 18% of all manufactured goods by value. Number 3 is Japan, with $1.06 trillion, 10% share. Number 4 is Germany at $0.7 trillion and a 7% share. And South Korea rounds out the top 5 at just a bit over half of Germany's numbers, $372 billion and a 4% share. For you source checkers, all these numbers come from the Brookings Global Manufacturing Scorecard. You see, manufacturing is not actually declining, it's getting more efficient. We're making more stuff with fewer people, hence fewer manufacturing jobs. In the U.S., we're also making more valuable goods, not cheap widgets. The goods we make dominate high-price sectors such as heavy machinery, aerospace, and military goods. We're also finally embracing new technologies such as robotics and high-tech automation that allow us to make even custom goods more efficiently. We're still a bit behind the rest of the world in that measure, but we are catching up. Nobilia, Germany's largest kitchen cabinet manufacturer, cranks out some 4,000 full kitchens every single day in just 2 manufacturing plants in Germany. That's some 8.5 million cabinets a year. To my knowledge, there's nothing like that yet in the U.S. Master Brand, number 6 on the FDMC 300 list of wood products manufacturers, is the biggest name in cabinets in the U.S. By one account, the company cranks out 2,315 cabinets per day at its Arthur, Illinois plant alone, which translates to about 770,000 cabinets a year. Of course, according to our FDMC 300 report, they have some 20 manufacturing plants and 13,000 employees, but not all of the output is kitchen cabinets. The point of all this is not to get lost in the doom and gloom promulgated by some media, politicians, and pundits trying to suggest we should abandon manufacturing or that there is no point in competing with China. We're telling our young people that there is no future in manufacturing. We still make stuff, a lot of stuff, valuable stuff, and more stuff than every country on the planet except one. We could be number one again if we just stop telling ourselves we can't compete. Henry Ford said it best: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Before we get to our interview with John LeTourneau, let's pause for a word from our sponsor. FDMC Magazine is your vital source of information to improve your woodworking business, whether it is keeping you apprised of the latest advances in manufacturing, helping you improve efficiency with lean manufacturing guru Brad Cairns, or inspiring you with case histories about successful businesses and best practices. FDMC Magazine is there to be the sharpest business tool in your shop. Learn more and subscribe for free at woodworkingnetwork.com/FDMC. Now let's talk with John LeTourneau. Today my guest is John LeTourneau, chairman of the National Woods Board, an effort to promote skills training for the woodworking industry. Welcome to the Woodworking Network podcast, John.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, I'm super excited to be sitting down with you for a really interesting chat. Some great things are going on here, and I love the idea that we can share this.
Well, that's great. First off, I want to talk, some of the people in our audience might not be familiar. Can you explain what the National Woods Board is and what it's trying to do?
Absolutely. The National Woods Board was assembled about maybe 4 years ago, right around the sort of the end or the middle of the pandemic, and it had been boiling in the background for a number of years, but its primary function is to respond to the request or the need from industry as it relates to workforce and delivering workforce that are ready, trained, and able to start in the woods industry immediately after leaving some kind of training program. And so the function here, and I'll call it out, it's like our mission is to change lives. And we want to create that opportunity that allows for that transition from a learning environment into an employment environment. And we want to do everything we can to support that. And we're doing it based on the request from industry. This is really what brought it forward.
Well, that's great. Now, what's your background? How did you get involved with the National Woods Board?
Well, I have a background as an entrepreneur and built businesses for a number of years in my early career. But in the last 15 years, I've been doing executive development. And as a result of that, I've also found that my superpowers are in strategic planning and kind of vision and breathing life into vision, and especially allowing that to happen for folks that are kind of in a growth trajectory with their organizations. And so in the last, let's say, 8 years, I've been working closely with manufacturing, and the manufacturing world has brought me into a bunch of really cool experiences, and specifically more in CTE, which is career technical education. So that piece there got me to an interview or an opportunity to meet with a man by the name of Dean Matson, who was the founder of a project in Colorado Springs called The Mill, which is which designed it's the manufacturing industry learning lab, and it teaches curriculum and students in woodworking. And Dean had showed some curiosity in getting to know me. I met with him, and we instantly had a really cool connection because Dean was looking for a way to scale this model that he has and bring it into more of like a national setting where we could use what we were learning in Colorado Springs and deploy that more on a national basis to try to really make some moves or solve the challenges around workforce. So that's how I ended up in it, and that's as best I could do is to condense it into that kind of story. But I'm the Sherpa in this group. So
Well, Dean is a pretty amazing guy. I've talked with him a
absolutely.
number of times, and what he's created there is a pretty phenomenal facility. And you know, we hear a lot of talk these days about the skills gap in manufacturing and the trades, and you know, how big of a problem is it really, and where does it come from?
Well, I would tell you that it's a big problem, and it's as much of a problem for the woods industry as it is for other industry, manufacturing industry, but more specifically in the woods industry, the challenge is aging population. We've got folks that have been in this industry for a long time, and they're aging out. And as they age out, we don't have a reliable system in place to introduce younger people to the industry and then in turn train them and prepare them for careers. And so there's multiple levels of this, but there hasn't been a system that's been designed to really address the upcoming workforce or the workforce potential that could go into the industry. And so that is in essence what the National Woods Board is doing is we are addressing that challenge about how to bring a more sustainable, reliable, well-trained and prepared workforce forward to meet the needs of manufacturing over the next generation or so.
Well, don't you think too, you know, that for years, I think that many educators, particularly in the public schools, have tried to steer young people away from manufacturing and the trades and into expensive four-year colleges. I personally have tried to save woodworking programs in public schools and spoke directly to school board members who, quite frankly, were clueless about the reality of manufacturing today. They thought, you know, all jobs in manufacturing are, I call it the three Ds: dull, dirty, and dangerous. Um, they had no idea the technology and skills involved, nor did they appreciate the potential for financial gain. How can we change that?
You know, I love the fact that even, like in your conversation here, you're aware of that aspect about how there's this perception. And so there has been, and we continue to do a lot of work around that idea of the perception, which means, for the younger workforce, we need to expose them and give them opportunities to see these kind of jobs or these kind of careers in a different light because today's modern manufacturing is not those 3Ds at all. It is not. We our manufacturers are doing something that they're changing the world, and they have a direct impact on the benefit of people's lives around the world, and that's really important for the workforce. And so, we're doing what you just described, and we're showing young people how great these careers are. But then we're also working with the school districts and even the influencers that are in kids' lives to help them understand a little bit more about the awareness. So we're creating this awareness inside the individual, the younger population, where they can be a little bit more curious and they can explore some of that curiosity first, and then they can see how that curiosity fits within kind of what maybe their focus might look like for the next step of their lives. And we just have to be honest and clear that not everyone is destined for a four-year college. And we've done a lot of work to really help school districts understand that your role is to prepare students for a workplace setting, whether it's a professional workplace setting that requires a four-year degree, or it's a industrial setting or commercial manufacturing setting that allows you to transfer things that are in your mind through your hands to create some kind of value. And so those things are happening more and more nowadays, which is really quite lovely. And we're proud of that, but the piece that is interesting too for the work that the National Woods Board is doing is that we don't look at it just through that lens. We look at it through a more a different systematic approach where we're taking on we're taking on the needs of industry, we're taking on the needs of education, and we're taking on the needs of just how individual employers even need to have folks coming forward.
Well, that's great because then you're working on, what people sometimes call the soft skills and creating, employees that are ready to be employees. I also think that the thing that's missing from this, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur myself, and I nobody teaches, if you can teach entrepreneurism, uh, in the schools, and I'm not sure that we need to teach it, but what we need to do is let the students know that yes, they may want to work for somebody, but they can make things themselves. They can make a business themselves too. And maybe working for somebody is the first step on that role to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I like that too, and I'll add on to it that you know, it's not about the four-year education, but it is about the education. And so all of us need to be at a position where we understand that we will always be learning. And so we may not go to a four-year college, but we will have classroom settings that will allow us to gather and acquire the skills that are necessary. And we will do this continually throughout all of our career. You have to be constantly learning, growing, and innovating in order to be relevant in today's marketplace. So um, this is for this kind of industry, for the woods industry, it's earn and learn is how it works. So we work and then we go to school, and then we work and we go to school, and we constantly are balancing those things so that we are better prepared as individuals to really meet the needs of, again, a really dynamic industry.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing is you can never stop learning in today's industry world because it changes so fast. I mean, most of the processes in machinery that are used commonly today didn't even exist when, I
Right.
started in this. And you have to be able to learn that. And a lot of the older folks that are aging out of the industry, uh, they aren't as adept with some of those learning skills and picking up some of the technology, but the young people can pick it up a lot faster and easier if they know that there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna, if I could, I'll just take it a little bit. This is what's unique about the offering that the National Woods Board is bringing to industry right now, and we look at it from a like a three-legged stool. We have our core pillars that we believe are important in regards to how this needs to fit together systematically. And we don't see anyone doing these three things at the same time. We see people picking up individual aspects of this here and there, but this is why this is so unique for us. The first industry pillar that we are talking about is industry involvement. And so the National Woods Board is using and establishing deeper relationships with key industry stakeholders to continue to build the recognition and the accreditation for students and teachers and school districts so that they understand that this is a collaboration of our industries and our communities that make this happen. So these are the things that are important in regards to how this needs to work. So the first one's that industry involvement. The second one is the National Woods Board curriculum. We have a proprietary curriculum that we've developed that fits inside of what we're referring to as the National Woods Board's education programming. And this is a curriculum that was built by industry for industry to prepare students with not only the skills, but the machinery that you talked about and the other techniques that are important that make the educational process that much more meaningful and that much more closely aligned to what industry needs. So it's our curriculum that's really an important piece too. We developed this curriculum in a manner where it can be scalable and transferable across the nation. So it could be built for a very large school district, or it could be built for a very small one. And we have the flexibility inside this to really meet a wide swath of needs. The third pillar that I want to refer to is what we call a partnership with the Woodworking Career Alliance. And we understand that this organization is so well entrenched inside the industry and has such lovely access to school districts and some other systems. But the one piece in here that we really like is their credentialing. And so we need to establish credentialing for the curriculum so that that credentialing can travel with the individual, and it helps set the bar for what is expected from employers. It makes it very objective. You can measure it through the credentialing. So we are in a partnership with the WCA, and they're helping us, implement the curriculum. Plus, they're also providing the credentialing that's so important.
Yeah, the WCA has got a great program where they have actually established skills standards for everything involved in woodworking, from simple measuring on up to running CNC machines, and they have a passport program so that folks can get certified in individual skills, and that goes into their passport, and they can take that to future employers and show, hey, I've been actually trained and certified in these skills, and it's something that they can take anywhere, and it's not locked into one business or anything like that. It's a great program, but an awful lot of folks in the industry don't know about it. Just like a lot of folks don't know about the National Woods Board that much. And there've been lots of efforts in the past to try and do something along these lines, and maybe they didn't have all three legs of that stool you were talking about. But I think of things like wood links and various trade school programs that maybe were regionally successful, but not scaled. None of them really got traction. What makes you think that the National Wood Board effort can be different?
Well, I believe it can be different because of the way that we're going about this with the three-legged stool. And it's a comprehensive approach that is that addresses the workforce needs. It nails it like no one else has been able to nail it before. And so, like you said, it's been one or two of the elements and never all three. And when we do it that way, or by bringing together this educational programming model, the National Woods Board educational programming model, we're really hitting all aspects of what the industry needs, and then we're containing in a way that's never been contained because of the scalability. We can actually set up a program like this anywhere in the nation, and so the industry connections we have are the way this is going to be done. And the way that we can come to over the next number of years, the way we're going to pull this together, it's never been done this way before, and we just feel really good about it. And we've got a working model with the mill model in Colorado Springs, so we have a we have a representative site where we've actually seen it and we can do it, and it's time to scale it, and that's why this is different.
Yeah, the model at the mill is pretty amazing, and some of Dean Matson's stories of his successes are pretty amazing. I particularly remember one where he was talking about a young lady who was actually homeless, and he worked with her, and she became a very productive program employee in a cabinet shop, and was able to get back on her feet economically, and the kind of folks that come out of that program at the mill are the people that I would think any woodworking business would instantly want to hire, because they're productive employees already, and they bring to the equation a lot more than just a couple of pairs of hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that kind of story, but some of the cabinet makers in the Colorado area that are working with us would echo the same thing. It's like we rely on the mill now. We rely on the curriculum and the model to bring workforce toward us in a regular basis, and that's exactly what we want to do. We've included in our programming this. opportunity whereby industry can support us. They can be part of our mission. And in exchange for that, not only will they be actively, involved in how we're educating and training people, but we will also have basically an online portal where we can place people that are exiting our programs, and we'll place them with our industry partners. And it just makes it really seamless and lovely for the employer. But the other thing that's really particularly interesting is that the programming itself creates the sense of ownership in the individual, and it gives them the confidence that they need to be able to take that next step into employment. And that's actually another aspect of how and why this has been so challenging, is that a lot of times students who are leaving programs or making decisions about life changes as they get older are struggling because they don't understand it or they don't see it themselves. They can't visualize it. And this program allows for them not only to experience it, but to create this visual path that takes away a lot of the fear of the unknown. You'll have a job before you graduate.
Yeah, that's the placement is basically 100% from what I understand
Yes,
out of the mill, and that can be replicated almost anywhere.
absolutely.
And the thing too that's different about the mill program from what I've seen is that the way you talked about preparing people so that they're ready to work and confident to work. Part of that is the way that the program goes is a little different than past programs in that it's from the get-go, it's set up almost like an employment situation where you're building projects, and it's just like if you were, building a kitchen for a customer, or building a piece of furniture for a customer, or doing built-ins or whatever. It's done like it would be in a professional shop.
It is, and it's actually using equipment that our industry partners have supplied. So you're literally working on the equipment in your school that you will work on when you're in an employment setting, and that's another amazing transfer. You
Oh
know,
yeah, there's got the, high-tech CNC machines and finishing line and all sorts
yeah.
of industrial caliber equipment. It's not like somebody, oh, you got to learn these hand tools, and oh, you're not going to use a hand plane when you get out into the real world.
It's important to have that foundation for sure, but it really is a reality is that you can step into an employment setting and use the gear that you've been trained on already, which is
Yeah.
just, it's amazing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how can individuals and companies get involved to boost the National Wood Sport effort and learn more?
Boy, I could encourage you to visit our website. Um, And that would be a great way. Reach out to someone like myself or through you. We'd love to give you some introductions and share more about what we're doing. We are going to be at the AWFS this July in Las Vegas, and we're going to be bringing the road show there because the reality around this is that industry has asked us to do this work, and we need industry support, and so we are looking for partners that want to bring in some resources for us so that we can make sure that this vision that we have changing lives and bringing this programming forward actually happens. And so, however, we can encourage people to reach out, we're going to reach out to you as much as we can. This roadshow is going out live, and we need to breathe life into our programming, and we're going to ask for that from industry.
That's great. And the website is nationalwoodsport.org. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have that in front of me. I don't exactly.
We'll post it with the podcast to confirm
That's awesome.
that address. And Amanda Conger is the administrator
Our
executive,
director. Yep.
yeah,
Hmm.
executive director, and she can answer questions. I know she's also been active for years in the Cabinet Makers Association. Um,
100%.
so she's familiar with the industry, and that's great. And there are education partners and industry partners, major manufacturers and suppliers are involved, and I think it's also great that individuals should connect with the National Woods Board, but they also need to connect on a local basis to, if there are still programs that exist nearby, woods programs, that they've got to get involved and make sure that the schools know that they exist.
Yeah, you want to reach out if you can locally. We all think globally, act locally. Reach out locally to school districts and encourage them to start to take a look at maybe some woods programming, and then maybe those will be some early relationships that we could connect in and do the follow up and bring this system forward, this scalable learning program that we've got, and introduce it there. That would be amazing.
I think it's a great thing, and there isn't one solution to any problem. There's always other multiple solutions, and this is a great opportunity and one that I think needs to get wider publicity. So definitely interested in promoting it as much as possible. I look forward to seeing you and some of the other National Woods Board folks in Las Vegas at AWFS in July. And and likewise, keep us apprised of any developments and new schools and new programs that are going on, new sponsors, any of that, so that we can help get the word out. Because
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, well, I'm going to end it with a story that I want to tell a little bit, or I think we're getting close to the part where we're going
yeah,
to wrap here, but I want to talk a little bit about the opportunity that's out here for students. And, we talked about earlier about how many students end up like in a 4-year program and maybe as a result of the 4-year program, don't necessarily get the job they want, or, they end up with a large investment and no really return on it. And in the workforce development area and the time that I spend, I have some interesting statistics that I like to share around manufacturing, and these are regional in our Minneapolis market, but they mirror what's going on nationally. And in our market here in Minneapolis, if we follow 11 segments of employment, of which manufacturing is one of them, in the particular kind of county area that I'm in, there's nearly 180,000 jobs that are in 11 segments of employment. And then of those jobs, 20% of those jobs are in manufacturing. So there's a really high percentage of opportunities out there for people who want to go into manufacturing, and there is work for you, and especially in the woods industry. That's You look at what has wood in it. Everything is made of wood almost. And so inside those 11 segments of employment, the median wage across there is almost like 55,000 annually right now. And if you break out the manufacturing segment, that annual or median wage is 89,000 coming out, and that tells me that there are a lot of jobs and there's a high wage opportunity there, so that when it translates into an opportunity, it means that you can graduate from high school or graduate from a training program, get a job in the community that you grew up in. You can build a house, you can start a family, and you can get a really cool truck, and you can do it all without having $100,000 worth of college debt. So that in
absolutely.
itself is just like a lovely thing. And so, we really want to tell that story. And I just think there's so many great opportunities out there. And part of our mission is to bring it forward. And we need help. We need partners to bring this story forward and to put the system in place nationally. That's really what we want to do. We want to change lives by
That's
bringing
great.
this forward.
Absolutely great, John. And definitely we'll do our part to help you out and looking forward to talking more about it. Thanks a
Awesome.
lot.
You're so welcome. Thanks for letting me hang out with you for a while. It was a pleasure chatting it up.
That's it for today. If you're looking for more of our podcasts, you can find all of them at woodworkingnetwork.com/podcasts and in popular podcast channels. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks again to today's sponsor, FDMC Magazine. To learn more about the National Woods Board effort, visit nationalwoodsboard.org. If you have a comment or a topic you'd like us to explore, contact me at will.sampson@woodworkingnetwork.com. Thanks for listening.